Monsters, Season 2, Episode 11, Half as Old as Time. A father, Dr. Miner, tries to convince his daughter Jacqueline to come to a cave with him since he heard it has the Fountain of Youth. She doesn't believe him but agrees to accompany him. He tells her he is ill and wants to live long enough to see his grandchildren. He bursts into her house and she is listening to everyone's favorite 80s metal band, Blacksmith, with their song, A Taste of Darkness. Yeah, she totally seems like the kind of girl to listen to this.
I thought you said that you'd never come back to the desert.
I think she would fit right in. We get to the cave very quickly, and this is the location we will spend the rest of the episode. I think the cave location is something like Fool's Gold or The Hole. Looks much better, but oh well. He tries the Fountain of Youth and it works as the old man turns into...
Tell me it's true.
You look young again.
Leif Garrett. Yeah, the 70s teenage heartthrob in old man makeup. I thought something was off when he kept moving his hands back and forth and vibrating his whole body with every movement, looking very unnatural. Old people don't actually move like that. A man by the name of Suspondo is the defender of the Fountains of Youth, but gives vague warnings and does not stop Leif Garrett from drinking it, encouraging him but also saying he has awakened the gods, with the leering snake statue above the pond seeming to have some magical powers. We get a morality play, but it's not a very good one. Suspondo hands him a knife and says the only way to become 30 years old for eternity is to kill his daughter. We get a laughable scene where Leif Garrett stabs his daughter while moving 1 mile per hour. Now I know why the episode started with a turtle, because Leif Garrett moves like one, and she could have easily dodged his stabbing. But she doesn't. He gets his immortality, but it comes with a price. The ending is open-ended. He gets sealed away in the cave as Suspondo has some power to control Leif Garrett's body and doesn't let him leave the cave. Oh yeah, and there's no monster in this episode, unless we count Leif Garrett in old man makeup. This is the only episode to break the rule of not having a monster, and it brings the episode down. I figured the snake statue would come alive or something, but no, we get nothing. 3 out of 10. Alright, let's read a positive review. This guy gave it a 6 out of 10. Decently fine episode, not as bad as described. I'm not going to say this was a masterpiece or anything, but I'm not quite sure why the other reviewers thought this was really bad. I mean, 3-star ratings, really? Yeah, he's got a point. Who would give this episode a 3 out of 10? On the downside, they put star Leif Garrett in some bad-looking old man makeup, and the fact that the ending sort of cops out without showing you the main character's fate did kind of irritate me. Episode 12, Museum Hearts. Danny is in a bit of a love triangle and gets busted at an after-hours museum gallery that will one day be filled with arrowheads and Stone Age relics. Isn't it always an unfinished museum gallery? That way, the set doesn't have to be elaborate, and they could throw some paint on the walls and have the characters talk about how one day this unfinished space will be an amazing gallery. Just visualize it. So Danny's genius idea seems to be to surprise his girlfriend of 1 year, Edwina, with his side piece Cheryl and hope for a threesome. This doesn't go as planned as they are somehow mysteriously locked in the unfinished museum gallery, and now both girls are mad at him. In trying to escape, Danny stands and jumps up and down on a box labeled Fragile, trying to reach an exit. He breaks through the fragile box to reveal a 2,000-year-old corpse of a bog woman, a druid priestess, basically an old school witch. Danny steals the heart of the old druid corpse, just like he does with all the other women in his life. We do get a backstory on the corpse, making it seem a little more plausible when it comes to life. At this point, the show really comes alive, and the barren gallery is soaked black and peat moss starts growing all around them. The bog woman climbs out of the coffin, and the only thing that protects them now is a thin fence that is eventually blown apart. We get a possession scene, and then the flickering lights and darkness becomes quieter and subdued. I like that it's not just the slasher. Too many horror shows and movies are just people being picked off one by one. It tricks you into thinking that is going to happen, but really, the druid wants to recruit the other 2 women and only get revenge on the man that stole her heart.
Come. Nothing bad will happen.
At least he finally got that threesome he always wanted.
You definitely should have brought the champagne. Don't let her hurt me, babe.
Don't call me babe.
8 out of 10. A story that is less predictable than at first glance, and the fact that they are able to change the drab, empty museum hall into a truly terrifying hellscape once the bog woman comes alive, is great. They even mention she's buried in peat moss and decide to cover the entire set with it. Just so you know, the witch is in complete control and they are in her domain now. I like all the actors in this one, the more mature woman Edwina and the flirty but damaged girl Cheryl, who mentions that she had some bad experiences with men, but they leave it up to interpretation what that actually means. Even clueless Danny is good with his one-track mind. At the end, you can tell he is a bit uncomfortable entering their circle, but does it anyways. Not that he has much of a choice. We have also officially hit the 90s, this episode being released January 7th of 1990. Monsters, Season 2, Episode 13, Habitat. Habitat is a one-woman show where our girl Jamie is put through various tests by some aliens for 9 months. If she passes, she gets some money, but we don't know how much. I assume a lot. We will just say $10 million, since she says it is enough money for her to live on for the rest of her life. She first faces isolation, and this drives her crazy. I think they should have had her stay longer than 9 months, since I think 9 months of isolation for a few mil is something a lot of people would put up with. She keeps track of the days. We fast forward to her 64th day of isolation. They raided the local dollar store for these props. She has a task of putting together a puzzle, then another puzzle, then she gets a treadmill. We're supposed to think these tasks are hard, but they seem kind of fun. They don't do a good job of explaining that these tasks are supposed to be difficult, and they hint that she has to do these every day, and then leave and go through some sort of obstacle to get her food, and then her bed to sleep in. The first part focuses on the isolation, and the second part, the tasks. She talks to herself the entire time. I understand they have to do this, since she's the only character, but at least give her a volleyball named Wilson to talk to or something. We also get some alien predator vision. Yeah, I would be way more concerned with the tasks than I would the isolation. Sounds like they give her lots of stuff to do. I don't think the isolation angle works. If they make her go through tasks to get food and her bed, that's not boring, it's traumatizing. She says something about an old task involving snakes, but we don't get anything that exciting. Just puzzles, treadmill, her playing the guitar.
My paces. What's it gonna be this time? Steam? Ice? Snakes? Electrified floor?
Yes, please, anything to make this more interesting, but no, we don't get an exciting task. Just her crawling through a hole and a cheap obstacle course. No snakes or electrified floors. Habitat has one fatal flaw. The aliens communicate with her using the most annoying alarm sound I've ever heard. I turned the volume down, so thank me later, but it sounds like this.
I wish you wouldn't blare that siren. You can't imagine how painful it is.
We hear this sound constantly throughout the episode, blaring and blowing out the speakers. Would it kill them to give the aliens a distorted voice or a more pleasant sound? It's supposed to drive Jamie crazy, but it also drives the viewer crazy too. Maybe they should travel to the future and watch A Beautiful Mind to see how this was done correctly. After going through the obstacle course, Jamie finds herself trapped, but they are nice enough to give her some musty old pizza, her reward for listening to all of their commands. Unfortunately, the pizza is filled with anchovies, and Jamie is allergic. She falls down, and we assume she dies. The aliens are seen observing her, and we get the moral of the episode, that they are treating humans the way that we treat animals. Apparently, we lie to hamsters that we're going to give them millions of dollars, then torture them with alarms and don't let them eat or sleep. Even if I agreed with the moral, it's a huge stretch, and meat is tasty. If they didn't blare sirens every minute, I would give it a 3, but they did blare sirens, and my poor little ears had to endure it. Sorry, Habitat. I consider you the worst episode for the sound design alone. Never thought I would say that. 1 out of 10. Believe it or not, there are people on the internet who disagree with me, so let's see what they have to say. Alright, this guy Woody Anders gave it an 8 out of 10. Moreover, this particular episode is essentially a one-woman show, and boy, does Taylor pull off that daunting feat by making Jamie a deeply sympathetic character. And this guy gave it a 4 out of 10. I mean, keeping a woman in a room with a jigsaw puzzle and making annoying alarms go off just isn't that interesting or effective. Yeah, I agree with that one. The episode was written by David Morrell, who wrote the Rambo novels. And Jamie was played by Lily Taylor, who's been in a ton of stuff and still acts today. She was in Leatherface, The Conjuring, The 1999 Haunting, and Born on the 4th of July. Next, episode 14, The Bed and the Boar, featuring Mr. Pink, a hotel, and a pig.